Now let us discuss about monostable multivibrator. First we'll see couple of points. Monostable multivibrator having one stable state and one quasi-stable state. It is also known as one-shot multivibrator. And by default, this multivibrator will be in its stable state until any external input signal triggers it and drives it into quasi-stable state for some duration. That duration is determined by discharging of RC circuit, and again after complete discharge the circuit will remain to its original stable state automatically. So in monostable multivibrator, in shortcut I am writing MSMV. By default it will be in stable state. Whenever we apply external input to this, it will move to quasi-stable state. And this quasi-stable state is not permanent. After capacitor discharges completely in quasi-stable state, again automatically without any input signal it will go to steady state. Okay, this is about steady state and quasi-stable state. So in order to analyze the working of monostable multivibrator, we have to assume that it is in its stable state. Okay, this is the circuit diagram of your monostable multivibrator. If you see here, these are the two transistors, and here one capacitor, one resistor are the coupling elements here. This capacitor C1 is speed up capacitance. Okay, and this is the crisscrossing here. The stable state is Q1 off and Q2 on. Okay, at Q1 we are giving our trigger pulse via this capacitor, okay, through the base of the transistor. This is the circuit diagram of your monostable multivibrator. Have a look on this. Now we are moving into analyzation of this working, how it is working. Okay, operation of monostable multivibrator. Okay, we know that first point is, we know that the monostable multivibrator is in its stable state. So what is stable state here? Q1 off and Q2 on. Okay, to which transistor we have connected the resistance. That transistor should be in on condition, and which transistor we have connected capacitor as coupling element, that should be off. This forms our stable state. Okay, so now we have to move our multivibrator into quasi-stable state. How can we move into quasi-stable state? If this is the quasi-stable state, the quasi-stable state will be Q1 on and Q2 off. That means by making off transistor into on and on transistor into off, this can be achieved in two ways. Okay, if you see in this circuit, I am applying a trigger pulse at the base of Q1. That means this is the Q1. The present state of Q1 is the off state. To make this Q1 into on condition, I am going to apply positive voltage at base of Q1 transistor. Okay, positive voltage at base of Q1 transistor. So what it makes, whenever I apply this positive voltage at its base, this positive voltage will be very short duration, and this is called as trigger pulse or trigger signal. Okay, so whenever it is applied, what will happen? VB1 increases. voltage at base 1 increases, which makes Q1 transistor into on state. Whenever the transistor is in on condition, automatically the voltage VC1 will become low. By taking this VC1 low voltage, see here, if this voltage becomes low, this is connected to base of Q2, this voltage also will become low. Okay, by taking this voltage low, VB2 also becomes low. From where it is taking via capacitor C. When VB2 decreases, it drives Q2 transistor into off state. At the end of the stage, Q1 became on and Q2 became off. This is called quasi-stable state. This state we have achieved by applying positive voltage at base of Q1 transistor. Okay, this is called quasi-stable state. Now we are in quasi-stable state. So in quasi-stable state, what happens? We are having a capacitor C here. So this capacitor C charges towards VCC. Through R, it charges towards VCC. It takes time. Okay. So whenever it charges towards VCC, it has to discharge. Where it should discharge, it will go like this. Through this path, it discharges by increasing capacitor discharges. Q2 transistor will be on after some time. Okay, because of this VC1 voltage, capacitor charges and discharges. During the discharge period, it discharges through the crossing method via this path. This is base 2. Okay, in this path. So by making this Q2 transistor into on condition. Okay, so now Q2 is on. Q2 is on. That means VB2 increased. So whenever VB2 increased, Q2 is on. What happens to VC2? Automatically VC2 decreases. When VC2 decreases, automatically VB1, because of this connection. Okay, because of this connection, this base 2 and this base 1 and C2 connection, this crossing network, the voltage here also decreases. When VB1 decreases, it makes Q1 transistor into off state. Again we have achieved Q2 on and Q1 off, which is nothing but our first stable state. Okay, this is what the circuit was. Here it was, and again it moved into quasi-stable state. Now again it came back into stable state. From stable state to quasi-stable state, we have applied positive voltage or positive trigger pulse here. Okay, but from quasi-stable state to stable, nothing external signal we have applied. We have just given capacitor charging and discharging times. It changed its state automatically. That's why it is having only one stable state and one quasi-stable state. And now see the waveforms at different points of monostable multivibrator. If you see the circuit here, okay, we have to draw 4 waveforms at base 1, base 2, collector 1 and collector 2. At base 1, the output will be whether the transistor will be in on or off state. So the output will be having only two states. There is no effect of capacitor on base 1. The effect of capacitor will be only on base 2. So base 1 will be having square output, perfect square output. The maximum level will be minus VBB. This will be our saturation level. This is base 1 output. Now see at collector 1. Okay. So at collector 1, what will happen whenever base voltage is low, automatically collector voltage is high. Like this it happens, and this is Q1 off, Q2 on state. Here this is Q1 on state and Q2 off state. This is the states: quasi-stable state and stable state. So we know that all multivibrators will be having complementary outputs. So whenever this is high, VC2 will be low, and whenever this is low, VC2 will be high. So let us see VC2. VC2 will be like this, low. The levels are, this is minus VCC, this is saturation level. Here also minus VCC, and this is saturation VCE, saturation level. Okay. Now see how the waveform will be at base 1. Okay, that is in quasi-stable state. See, during Q1 off and Q2 on, the transistor Q2 is in saturation. Okay, Q2 is in on condition. That means this is in saturation. So during this period at base 2, this will be at VBE saturation level. Okay, and this one, this after this period, then Q1 is off and Q2 is on. Whenever the stable state is turned into quasi-stable state, what will happen here? The curve flows like this, and by achieving certain point, means minus VCC, it starts, the capacitor starts discharging towards VCC, so towards 0. Okay, so after coming to this point, what will happen? It rises to a level beyond VBE saturation, and then because it won't allow sudden changes, it will, due to this time period restriction, it sharps wisely, and then this. Like this the waveform will come. This portion is called as time period T. Okay, this is called pulse width, and now we are going to analyze pulse width. Okay, so these are the waveforms of your monostable multivibrator. Let us find out the pulse width of monostable multivibrator. For that, I am considering waveform at base 2, at base of transistor 2 I am collecting, because the pulse width is the time for which the circuit remains in the quasi-stable state. Okay, pulse width T is defined as time for which the circuit present in quasi-stable state. Okay, this is the definition of pulse width. So this is the waveform that we took from this. We are considering only one cycle here. Okay, so if you observe, this will be the maximum or final value of our waveform. The capacitor will go till here, maximum value. So that is VCC, and this is V gamma. Okay, and the voltage which we got is V sigma. We are considering this as V sigma. This V gamma is cut-in voltage. That means the transistor will get just on and will be in active state. V gamma is saturation voltage of your transistor. Okay, whenever the transistor enters into saturation region, the voltage will be V gamma. So we are having V gamma, V sigma and VCC. Okay, and this one, okay, this portion will be I1 into RC. Okay, or else you can take it as RC1. I1 RC1. That means I1 is the current that we have already seen, and RC1 is the collector resistance of transistor Q1. Okay, so depending on all these terminologies, we are going to find out this total T. Okay, pulse width we are going to find. That means during how much time the monostable multivibrator will be in our quasi-stable state. Okay. Okay, we know that voltage across the capacitor or else output voltage, that we will find out VC is equal to, or else take V0 itself, don't get confused as previous, VF minus V initial to e power minus t by tau. Okay, so here what is the initial value Vi, what is the final value Vf? Vf we know the maximum voltage the capacitor can reach here. Okay, this is the VCC value. So V final is equal to VCC. So what is the V initial value? So how much will be the V initial value? From here it is starting. So it will be V sigma minus, this is the V sigma level, and removing this portion. Hence we will get from here V sigma minus I1 RC1. This will be our V input value. Okay, and what is V0 here? We are considering VB2 value. So V0 is equal to VB2. Okay, so write equation using all this. VB2 is equal to VF VCC minus V sigma plus I1 RC1 into e power minus t by tau. Okay, and at small t is equal to pulse width T. What about V gamma? From graph, see here, at t is equal to capital T. Okay, this is the instant. What about VB2? VB2 is equal to V gamma. Okay, so we are going to substitute VBT is equal to V gamma here. So by substituting all the values, V gamma is equal to VCC minus V sigma plus I1 RC1 into e power minus capital T by tau. we need this pulse width. Okay, for that we are going to derive VCC minus V gamma is equal to VCC minus V sigma plus I1 RC1 into e power minus t by tau. E power minus t by tau is equal to VCC minus V gamma by VCC minus V sigma plus I1 RC1. Okay, we need this t. So first find out this one. E power t by tau is equal to VCC plus I1 RC1 minus V sigma by VCC minus V gamma. So if you take ln on both sides, capital T is equal to tau ln of VCC plus I1 RC1 minus V sigma by VCC minus V gamma. Okay, this is the expression for pulse width. Further we are going to simplify this one. Okay, how we are going to simplify means, depending upon the material, V sigma value will changes. It will be 0.2 for germanium, 0.72 for silicon. Okay, this is value of V sigma. So here we are finding out in quasi-stable state. So in quasi-stable state, when your transistor is in saturation, output VC1 will be VCE saturation. At the same time, VCC is equal to VCE saturation plus I1 RC1. Okay, so if you take the transistor like this, this will be RC1 and current flowing through this is I1. If this is VC, if this transistor is in saturation region, the output VCE saturation, okay, is equal to VCC minus I1 into RC1. From this we wrote this. We want I1 RC1. So I1 RC1 is equal to VCC minus VCE saturation. Okay. So now substitute these values in pulse width T, and we are having V gamma. V gamma is nothing but our V sigma we are having. V sigma is nothing but our saturation value, okay, of VB2. So V sigma is equal to VBE saturation. Okay. So now substitute all these values. Capital T is equal to tau ln of VCC. What is the expression for this one? VCC plus I1 RC1. I1 RC1 means VCC minus VCE saturation. Okay, minus V sigma. What is V sigma? V sigma is VBE saturation. VBE saturation divided by VCC minus V gamma, that equal to tau ln of 2 VCC minus of VCE saturation plus VBE saturation divided by VCC minus V gamma. Okay. So now how we are going to solve this one? Okay. Ln of 2 into, bring out this 2 outside, VCC minus VCE saturation plus VBE saturation whole divided by 2 divided by VCC minus V gamma. Okay. So now this is ln of A into B. So we can write this as tau ln of 2 plus tau ln of VCC minus of VCE saturation plus VBE saturation by 2 divided by VCC minus V gamma. Okay, but what about VCE saturation plus VBE saturation? VCE saturation and VBE saturation by 2 is nothing but our V gamma, that is our cut-in voltage. If we substitute the cut-in voltages by the saturation voltages by considering a transistor, the value of the average of the value is equal to the cut-in voltage. Okay. So now substitute capital T is equal to tau ln of 2 plus tau ln of VCC minus V gamma by VCC minus V gamma will get cancelled. Tau ln of 2 plus tau ln of 1. Okay, the value will be 0.693 into tau. So pulse width capital T is equal to 0.693 into tau. What is tau? Tau is nothing but time constant, which is called as RC. So the pulse width of monostable multivibrator will be 0.693 RC. This value from here to here. .693 times RC value. This is the pulse width of monostable multivibrator, which is very, very important concept. And see the applications of monostable multivibrator in this one. See, as this is monostable multivibrator, this is also called as one-shot multivibrator. The applications, it is used as adjustable pulse width generator. We can adjust the pulse width by varying the capacitor value for generating uniform pulse width. Uniform pulse train, in those applications it is used. It is also used to generate clean sharp pulse from distorted signal. For many output distorted signals, then we can generate sharp pulses. We can modify those shapes also. These are the applications of monostable multivibrators.